clear, so individual, so you spot it very clearly. But in the natural speaking, nobody talk like that. They just go around. Sometimes some vowel sound or consonant, 母音子音, they disappear. They mix with the previous word or after, blended with the later word. Okay? A lot of American pronunciation works like this. So if you want to listen better, this is something that if you listen a lot of time, you first time get a general meaning, okay, no problem, you fully understand, and or you look up all the words that you don't know. Maybe 10 times you listen, and then you want to copy the sound exactly. So you can do that practice. We talked about that, right, before? You can copy Steve Jobs' presentation style. Okay, let's try.
Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life.
Today, he paused. Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life.
That's it. No big deal.
That's it. No big deal.
Just 3 stories.
Just 3 stories. He lowered the voice. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories.
The first story is about connecting the dots.
The first story, they raised the pitch. The first story is about connecting the dot. It's about connecting the dot. He didn't say the first story is about connecting the dot. You see the difference? The first story is about connecting the dot. That's a rhythm.
I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months.
Okay, speak very fast. I dropped, almost without ed sound. It dropped out of, but he said, dropped out of. You see the difference? Okay, dropped out of, dropped out. The first D-R-O-P-P-E-D, dropped out of. They change become dropped out of. 第一个结尾的 T 跟第二个 out 连起来了 ，dropped out of， 能听得出来吗 ？Dropped out of， 知道我意思吗 ？Dropped out of 变成 dropped out of。第一个结尾的 T 跟第二个 OUT 的 OU 连起来 ，dropped out of。如果你没有不是母语人士，你会觉得怎么有一个字叫 doubt，D-O-U-T， 没有这个字啊，英文没有这个字啊。什么叫 dropped out of？ 它是3个字连起来。这个我们在英文里面叫 linking。But
then stayed around as a drop-in for another 18 months or so before I really quit.
这个需不需要教？不需要教。如果你听多了，你就自然这样。但是如果有人告诉你，也许会有一点点帮助。但是这个帮助并不是关键。你如果不去听，你永远没有办法感受到。你只知道啊，好像有 linking， 好像有 linking， 好像有 linking， 没有办法。OK。
About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer.
About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. Diagnosed. You check your health, you find some problem, diagnose.
I had a scan at 7:30 in the morning, and it clearly showed a tumor on my pancreas.
At a scan maybe X-ray, maybe CT. Okay. It clearly showed a tumor, tumor, on my pancreas. Pancreas is an unusual word. I'm now a Chinese teacher, but I never teach students 胰脏. It's a body's organ, but it's not quite common. People talk about that. It's an advanced vocabulary. Not advanced, just unusual, because it's not normal conversational word.
I didn't even know what a pancreas was.
你知道胰脏是什么吗？在哪里？你的胰脏在哪里？我也不知道。Where's your pancreas? No. Most people don't know, right? So he said, he made a joke. He made a joke. He didn't even know where pancreas was, what a pancreas was, and where.
The doctors told me this was almost certainly a type of cancer that is incurable.
Doctor told him the bad things. This is a certain type of cancer that is incurable, curable, can be recovered, can be healed. Incurable, no, 没救了, hopeless.
And that I should expect to live no longer than 3 to 6 months.
So you can expect your time, your life is limited. No longer than 3 to 6 months. 3到6个月.
My doctor advised me to go home and get my affairs in order.
That's my advice. Doctor give advice, teacher give advice, counselor give advice, right? You can give your friend advice, just suggestion. So what's the doctor advice? To go home, get your affair done in order. What does that mean? Get your affair in order. If you put something in order, something you think most important you have to deal with, 准备后事啊. Get your affair in order.
Which is doctor's code for prepare to die.
Doctor's code. COD? Oh, strange word. What does that mean? Code. We computer science students think code, source code, right? 程式码, machine code, or some security secret code, password that you cannot know. But code has another meaning, means principle or rule. For example, when I was in high school, we have a very strict hair code, dress code. We cannot leave our hair too long. We got to wear uniform when we go to school. That's what we call dress code. That's a rule about how you should wear to go to the school. That's how long, what's the length your hair can leave. That's a hair code. So the doctor code, that means doctor 的术语就是 prepare to die. OK? 所以这个 code 在这里并不是什么密语，不是啊，就是那个principle, rule, like a dress code.
It means to try and tell your kids everything. You thought you'd have the next 10 years to tell them in just a few months. It means to make sure everything is buttoned up so that it will be as easy as possible for your family. It means to say your goodbyes. I lived with that diagnosis all day. Later that evening, I had a biopsy.
Biopsy 就是这个细胞的检查啊，切片检查。
Go down my throat, through my stomach, into my intestines. Put a needle.
Endoscope. We know scope. Something you use some machine to look at. Endoscope is a very special, usually in the medical use. 内视镜 endoscope. They put some endoscope down to your throat and then through your stomach and then go to your intestine. Intestine. It is an unusual word too. Where is the intestine? 肠子 intestine. Put a needle into my pancreas and got some cells from the tumor. I was sedated. I was sedated. What does that mean? I was sedated. 他被打镇静剂，麻醉，或者是吃了什么样的，还比较不会痛。I was sedated, but my wife, who was there, told me when they view the cell under a microscope, 显微镜。The doctor started crying. Crying doesn't mean you cry with your tear coming out. Crying just means, surprise. So emotionally. Because it turned out to be, eventually, surprisingly, it's a very strange, rare form of the cancer that can be healed. That's curable. You will get better by maybe taking medicine or do a surgery to remove. Luckily, he had a surgery and he get better now. Okay. Okay, so he said this is the closest that he has been facing death. And he learned something from it. He learned some concept. And then he said, no one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. You know, this is a person have a special quality. Let's tell some serious story and then they play a funny joke with themselves. So you can hear some laughing in his speech. This is the best speaker. Not so serious. Sometimes play around themselves some jokes. Even people who want to die, even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. 懂这个意思吗？什么意思？这什么意思？这什么意思？